Hello, my classroom. This city has been overrun by corruption, violence, serial street artists, and worst of all, costumed vigilantes. But there is one man who is here to solve things. Fisk will fix it.
Just wonderful.
Along with the Batman, the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, into and across and through and in between the Spider-Verses, Netflix's Daredevil is one of my perfect comic book adaptations. A series that blends a world of comic books with prestige streaming TV. Daredevil truly was and is something special. And Daredevil Born Again is too. I was extremely hesitant towards the series. Netflix's Daredevil is one of my closest loved ones, and I wouldn't have anyone ruining his legacy. Like if you put on a costume of Daredevil and murdered in order to disgrace him and ruin his legacy. You know, like that. But week after week, Daredevil Born Again has been doing nothing but impressing me. Been doing nothing but delivering incredible TV. Been doing nothing but being Daredevil.
Well, I'll admit it's not entirely unpleasant to see you again.
Daredevil Season 3 aired over 6 years ago, oh my god, and ended on what I would have considered to be a perfect note. Comic book shows are particularly suited towards open-ended but hopeful finales. So, after being promised the formation of Nelson, Page, and Murdock, I was perfectly okay with getting the occasional Matt Murdock cameo, until someday it just kinda ended. So, conversely, with the announcement of Daredevil Born Again, and the later announcement of how they had completely fucked up Daredevil Born Again, and then the later announcement of how they had murdered the showrunners, scriptwriters, and I was worried, I was scared, and I lost faith.
I know that's unforgivable, and I'm not even asking for forgiveness, because I can't even forgive myself.
Because Daredevil truly is Episode 1 of Daredevil Born Again has a ton of work to do, but does it really well, catching us up not only to where our characters are now, but where they will be for most of the show. Or won't be. Spoilers for Daredevil Born Again in 3, 2...
Someone's looking.
This cold open, a year before the majority of the show takes place, does an impressively good job at getting you ready for the rest of the season. We meet some of our new characters, say goodbye to some of our old characters, there's some great action, some not great CGI, all tied together with an incredible soundtrack, shots, and above all, performances. Charlie Cox, Deborah Ann Wool, and Eldon Henson do a great job at reacquainting us with this trio, in an incredibly short amount of time.
Are those numbers legit?
My numbers are always legit.
Well, you wouldn't argue with her. Still, the city finds other ways to protect itself.
What I find even more impressive, though, is how after Bullseye's conviction and several time skips of different lengths, the show has to do it all over again, formally introducing us to Matt's new supporting cast, and while I may always miss Karen and Foggy, I do like this cast a lot too. With a new fancy law firm, a few good contacts in the NYPD, and another gorgeous girlfriend, Matt Murdock has moved up in the world. Just like Wilson Fisk.
It's hard. It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature.
Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk is one of my favorite comic book performances of all time. He's not the same Kingpin as in the comic books. I can never believe that Wilson Fisk is in love or even feel a little bit bad for him, but unsurprisingly, this version is a little more three-dimensional. I'm glad that they get his run for mayor out of the way in the premiere, having already won the office by the end of the episode. You know he has it out for vigilantes, but what are his goals for the rest of the city? Is he simply using the office to solve this one problem for himself? Or is he once again the kingpin of crime? Daredevil Born Again isn't an adaptation of the Miller Mazzucchelli book for various reasons, though it does pay homage to it. This Daredevil Born Again is the story of Daredevil and the Kingpin being born again, rising from the losses they've both accumulated. Wilson Fisk uses the office of mayor to rise even above the position of power he used to have as the kingpin of crime. On the other hand, Daredevil must be drawn out of Matt Murdock. He must once again become a man possessed, even if he doesn't want to. Having tried to bury the devil after attempting to murder Bullseye, we see him creep back out in moments, away from prying, seeing eyes.
Don't do this. You don't want to do this.
Daredevil Born Again, more than any other live-action comic book show I've ever watched, really feels like sitting down to read a good-ass comic run. We start the series in earnest with the trial of Hector Ayala. The White Tiger is being convicted of murdering an officer of the NYPD. This arc is fantastic and heartbreaking, on and off the screen. The Trial of the White Tiger is a wonderfully written 3-episode arc on what it takes to be a hero and what it takes from us. We're already well acquainted with the sacrifices Matt Murdock has made to be and not be Daredevil, but it can be easy to forget that his image has caused others in the city to make these same sacrifices, sometimes larger ones too. All because
it's the right thing to do.
There's a piece of dialogue in this episode I really appreciate from one of Matt's new supporting cast, Cherry. He describes the NYPD as a big machine, and when one of their own dies, accident or not, that machine doesn't stop until someone suffers. These episodes were also dedicated in the memory of Ayala's actor, Camar de los Reyes, who passed in 2023. Rest in peace. This arc takes the system that Matthew abandoned the devil for, the system that he has put all his faith in, being bastardized in one of the most extreme ways we've seen in this deeply corrupt series. Episodes 5 and 6, Sic Semper Systema and With Interest, are a couple more laid-back, less plot-heavy episodes, while Matt looks for a reason to let the devil out. White Tiger's murder draws Matt back into the somewhat detective side of his vigilante persona, even bringing him to the Punisher. I love this scene for a lot of reasons, but just focusing on two, I love Matt having to go underground to meet with Frank as sort of a hell allegory. In this scene, on the other hand, is just these two characters acting at each other.
So what now? Every day Bullseye goes to the chow hall, eats his slop. You know he gets to breathe the same air that you breathe. You feel good about that? He got life!
Matt leaves having not fully accepted that his darker side is still there, and you can see how hard he tries to tamp it down. He asks God to damn Frank Castle to hell for compelling him to hit Frank, before immediately apologizing. The urge to let the devil out is growing stronger. The death of Foggy, Hector Ayala, the election of Mayor Fisk, a dark, violent rage just bubbling under the surface, begging to be let out. The next episode is a fun one. Episode 6, With Interest, still moves the ongoing plot of the series forward, seeing the Fisk Empire lose even more control over the organized crime they used to run in the city, but is also just a really enjoyable episode. This is part of exactly what I meant when I said this feels like a perfect comic book show. This feels like reading a great ongoing comic run and hitting that one filler issue with a different writer and artist. Usually, I hate this. It's literally maybe my biggest comic book pet peeve. But when it's a good issue, it's still a good issue. And this is a great issue, episode, whatever you want to call it, for Daredevil. And Mr. Khan, the adorable assistant bank manager, is also a fantastic one-episode character, lovable and even heroic in his own way. I never ended up watching Ms. Marvel, but honestly, this really made me want to go take a little trip to Jersey City. You know, the fake one, of course. And having your bank robbers have a fun accent is always a way to instantly improve this kind of plot.
Can someone lock the fucking door, please?
Now, it was already hard enough for Matthew to not be Daredevil, what with the death of Foggy and Hector Ayala. So how about the death of 60 more people? Muse has been the background element of this series so far, the dark horse coming to throw a wrench into the lives of both Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk, the wild card.
Well, yeah, of course I'm the looks, but I always thought of myself as the brains and the looks. No, you're the looks, I'm the brains, Charlie's wild card. That's that's awesome!
Muse and his plotline is probably the least cohesive element of the season. Almost certainly either a victim or a benefactor of the series' rewrites, but he still works well for this story. The scenes depicting his artistic process are fittingly unsettling, and usually I am not the biggest fan of the, oh, I gotta earn my suit again trope, but when it's done right, it's done right. And when Hector Ayala's niece goes missing,
Fuck it.
the devil must return. The fight between Muse and Daredevil is incredibly cathartic, and has the insanely good main Daredevil theme in the background, meaning I can't really play any clips of it, even though I really want to, but I don't even care, it's so beautiful. Muse escapes while Daredevil saves Hector Ayala's niece, and thank God, because then Muse can explain to Heather why he could kinda kick Daredevil's ass a little.
Did I ever tell you I used to compete in Taekwondo?
Muse attacking his therapist, Heather Glenn, gives this plot exactly what it needs on all fronts, and marks one of the many times where I was sure she was gonna die. I don't love that Muse is now dead, but him bringing Daredevil back onto the streets of New York, and giving Fisk new license to increase his control over the city, is the perfect accelerant for the rest of the season. Fisk tightens the noose on not only New York City with his anti-vigilante task force, but very gently tells Matt Murdock that he knows where he lives, by sending his personal hitman Buck to his apartment to get Heather. This was the one time I felt like Heather was just not consistently written, cause like, she's supposed to be smart, and Fisk sends Buck to Matt's apartment to get Heather, and she's just like, oh yeah, and doesn't realize that that's like extremely threatening. Matt is losing the grip on his new life more and more. The pressure from Fisk and his nights as Daredevil, missing meetings, snapping at his clients and girlfriend, and Bullseye.
Hey, guard!
Okay, that's fair though. But speaking of Bullseye, just like season 3 of the Netflix series, he may be my favorite part of Born Again. His appearances in Born Again are much more brief than his borderline leading role in season 3, but arguably, pound for pound, are more impactful. Not only killing Foggy, setting the tone of the series and putting in motion the plot, but escaping prison and attempting to kill the mayor. The black and white ball might be my favorite scene in this season. The pacing is incredible, the tension builds masterfully. The remix of Storm Clouds Rising is such a unique choice, and the camera does that thing with the aspect ratio. I love that thing they do with the aspect ratio. But after this scene, after seeing Matt Murdock take a bullet for Wilson Fisk, the kingpin of New York, I was thinking about one line from Bullseye.
Because that's what good men do, right? Defend their worst enemies.
The finale opens with a scene that answers the question that has loomed over the entire season. Why is Foggy Nelson dead? You know, besides the bullet wound. Vanessa Fisk being revealed as a much darker force than we previously knew is a great twist and makes perfect sense. I mean, someone had to run the business while Fisk was away, but I also love that we see the same for Wilson again. Discovering that the Red Hook port that Mayor Fisk has been looking to secure this entire season isn't even a part of the United States is such a classic good lawyer Foggy Nelson move, and I just wish it hadn't gotten him killed. Now that Wilson and Vanessa have buried the hatchet and Adam, they can focus on their true relationship goals. Evil. Now, by the end of episode 8, I thought that I liked this season quite a bit. And then the finale happened, and I learned that I could love this season quite a bit. Mayor Fisk being shot at and Matt Murdock taking the bullet for him serves Kingpin New York City on a silver platter. I really like that there's no moment where Fisk is like, perhaps I was wrong about Matthew Murdock. He's just like, perhaps I could use this as an opportunity to kill Matthew Murdock. Giving his anti-vigilante task force not only permission to use lethal force, but encouragement, and a citywide blackout to hide it. Mayor Kingpin can finally kill Matt Murdock. It's gonna work this time. Maybe not. Punisher returning isn't just, frankly, incredible fan service, giving us straight up giggle-worthy best friendship dialogue between Daredevil and Punisher, but is a great way to start to wrap this part of the story up. And while I may not be as big of a Punisher fanboy as some of the sociopaths in my audience, watching him kill corrupt cops is like one of the most fun things ever, and one of the most painful things ever, all the way back in the premiere to me, is Matt and Karen Page talking after Bullseye's trial.
What are you gonna do about Daredevil?
I made a promise to myself that I'd let the system handle it.
I have spent so much time now with these characters who clearly care about each other so much, and they have this unhealed, festering wound. It's painful, and that's not parasocial of me. So, Karen calling the Punisher to protect Matthew regardless of how he would feel about it is so strangely touching. It's perfect for this series. Matthew has been racked with guilt, as he always is, but despite everything, Karen was still looking out for him, with love. A guardian angel. Callbacks to Avocados at Law and Matt and Karen's first night together make this feel all so cohesive, like it could have just been one little one-off reboot season. Thank God it isn't. I thought that Daredevil Born Again would be a story about Mayor Kingpin intentionally increasing the crime rate to bring Daredevil out of hiding, but I was wrong. Born Again Season 2 seems like it will be an adaptation of the 2021 Devil's Reign arc from Chip Zdarsky, as part of his larger Daredevil storyline. Mayor Kingpin has outlawed vigilantism in New York City, promising to deal with it accordingly. Now, with a human zoo of detractors under his property, Kingpin is ready to mount the final head on his wall, Daredevil. Also, keeping the Punisher alive and imprisoned is such a hilariously bad idea. Like, this is a worse idea than Cecil keeping Conquest alive.
It's an honor to meet you. Thank you, Anthony.
Man, what did you think was gonna happen? I hope that we finally get an adaptation of Typhoid Mary, and I am, once again, so excited to see Bullseye again, my baby boy. But I am just so glad that this show is out, finished, and rocks. It's not the exact same as the Netflix series, and I would not call it as good, at least not yet. But this was great, and I am fascinated to know how they conjured it out of the corpse of whatever this series was. I was worried, I was scared, and for a moment, I even lost faith. But I am so happy to report that Daredevil truly is. Want to do us out, Adam?
Born
In closing, Your Honor, I really liked this season. I don't really know what else to say. It's not the same or not as good, especially as the Netflix series. They're just too tonally different for me to compare directly, but yeah, it's not as good. But I had a really fun time, and that is the video for this week, y'all. Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is now probably my most anticipated Marvel project, behind the comics, of course. Those always reign supreme. And behind Fantastic Four. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching that video. If you made it to this point, a double thank you. I don't know why I did it like down here, like by my waist at first. I don't let the camera be down there, especially not for free. Are you freaking kidding me? But yeah, I'm filming this kind of quick and wrapping this up. Gonna go celebrate Easter with my family. Like I've mentioned in these Daredevil videos, my family's Catholic, so kind of funny that about to go. I think Easter is like supposed to be the most important Catholic holiday. Obviously, the most fun one is Christmas. I mean, and obviously the best holiday is Halloween. But anyways, yeah, I really like Daredevil Born Again Season 2. I'm really caffeinated right now. I'm like kind of all over the place. I'm trying to get stuff together before I go. Watch to show off my collection this week, though. Got this little, he's not like an actual like rubber duck. He's some sort of plastic. But this is, of course, the Chainsaw Man, Denji. He's so cute. I love him. It's just this new collectible type thing. I saw it at Books A Million the other day. I was gonna get a book. I decided to get a little collectible of a type. But yeah, I really hope that you guys liked Daredevil Born Again Season 1. I know that there were some mixed opinions on it. One of my favorite YouTubers, Cosmonaut Marcus, I'm mad at him right now because he didn't like it, apparently. I don't know. I didn't watch his video because, like, I still love his videos. I watch them, like, almost every day. But, like, if it's just, like, a review of something and it's, like, and it's something that I really like and it's not just a creator I like gassing it up, like, I don't know. I don't need someone to, like, yuck my yum. You know what I mean? But, yeah, you know, different strokes for different folks. I really hope that we get Typhoid Mary in, Season 2. Maybe Nuke. Never gonna happen. I know that he was in Jessica Jones, but, like, actual Nuke. Yeah, I really hope that you guys like Daredevil Season 2, or... I really hope that you guys like Daredevil Born Again Season 1. If you have any, like, villains or characters you want to appear in Season 2, let me know in the comments. I know a lot of people want Spider-Man. I like for shows to not rely on cameos for plot, so I'd prefer, like, Typhoid Mary, but I'll see y'all next time. Happy Easter weekend.